first of all, to define these different approaches, qualitative versus quantitative. There are several key parameters in which they differ quite a lot. First of all are the analytical objectives. When we talk about qualitative research methods, this typically focuses on describing individual experiences and beliefs, really taking the individual view into the major focus. Quantitative research methods in this, however, rather focus on describing characteristics of a whole population. People in large groups are very amenable to quantitative research methods. This is not very suitable for the study of individual experiences, or at least taking these as the key data points that you would actually want to collect. That's the first key difference. This drives, therefore, also the type of questions that you would ask to generate the data within qualitative or quantitative research methods. So for qualitative research methods, it's actually possible and also very encouraged to ask open-ended questions, because it's about the experiences, about the beliefs, that does not easily fit a simple yes/no, a simple quantitative scale. It's much more subjective. For quantitative research methods, because you want to quantify, you need to have these questions closed-ended. There needs to be very fixed, very discrete answer possibilities. Otherwise, it's not possible to use quantitative methodology on these data sets. Also, the instrument to collect the data, or rather the methodology to collect data, is very different. Quantitative research methods use semi-structured methods. We'll go through into a couple examples as well. Typical ones are in-depth interviews, focus groups, participant observations, and so on. So this is semi-structured. There's a format, but it can go in different ways. These are interactions for the first two parts, or observations that you cannot very much control, or only semi-control. And that's where certain types like focus groups come in, where you have some control about the settings, some control about the flow and the process. But as it is open-ended, again, in nature, there can be very different outcomes coming from it. On the other side, quantitative research methods would use highly structured methods, very clear-cut, very precise instructions. Typically, these are, for example, questionnaires or surveys that you can use there. With these parameters in mind, it's not surprising that qualitative research method produces descriptive data. It describes qualitatively a certain set of data, but it's not numerical. It's not clearly quantifiable like quantitative research methods that data produce. Also, qualitative research methods have a much higher degree of flexibility, because the participant responses can affect how questions are asked, which questions are asked, or at least the sequence of the questions that would be asked. So there is some flexibility in the interaction with the study subjects. On the quantitative side, there's no difference in the responses or coming from participant responses. There's not a way to adapt the workflow for these processes to determine quantifiable data. For example, really, it's a fixed set of questions. For example, if you imagine a questionnaire goes one after another, there's no way to switch the sequence.